Take me a second. I got to set this up, though. It's kind of tight. Maybe we should do it at 12:30. Give me more time in between.
Yeah, sure. These are.
I mean, because the show goes long, and then I'm like rushing to eat and use the bathroom.
Yeah, sure.
All the rest. Not that it's the end of the world, but
these are our test.
I blame you.
I know my purpose.
It's all your fault, John.
I've accepted it.
It's all your fault.
Okay.
It was nice you had Mark Westgard on. I had never met him in person. He's pretty well known around WordPress world, isn't he?
We are live, so
yeah.
I've pressed.
Oh well, thanks for letting me know.
Yeah,
but nevertheless,
but he's a great guy.
Why are we live when I haven't set up the screen yet?
Because I'm going to edit it and put it back up.
Hello, folks. This is Jonathan and I having a chat.
But we'll have a banner up with sound when I can actually spend some time in getting it organized.
I would love it if next time we have a process for this, so that when I come on, it's not like live with me showing up when I haven't even set up the bizarre.
It's a live. It's a slightly different format.
Well, I will do my best to recuperate from the surprise. Hello.
No, let me do right. So, are we ready?
I guess we are now. I guess we've been live the whole time.
Yeah, right.
Just proving that we actually are doing these things live, because nobody else would be this unprofessional if it was not live.
Right.
What?
Right. Welcome back, folks. Welcome back to another funnel building live. Got my partner in crime, Spence, with me. In this particular show, we're going to be showing you how to customize your buyer's journey with marketing automation. Before we go into the main part of this live show, Spencer, I just thought I'd ask you, has there anything come on your radar in the last week around funnels, plugins, or anything else that you would like to share with the audience? Or do you want to go straight in to the meat and potatoes of this particular show?
No, I think we should chit chat a bit. One of the conversations I have almost daily, because let's talk about marketing and the stack, insofar as people who are listening feel they have a better understanding of why do we choose things, why do we recommend things. And for this, I'll just go to my looking at you on the screen. So I have my colleague, my protege, whatever, Luke, who's been working with me for many years, my team member. And we're constantly looking at new companies and new strategies and everything else. And here's what we've come to the conclusion of. For those of us who are in the space like you and I, who are instructing others, it's almost like Lewis and Clark going off into the wilderness in front of the civilization and saying, here's what the undiscovered country looks like. And it doesn't matter what you take in your backpack, but for the most part, we try to stay in the WordPress world. But today, for example, we had a very salient conversation about, well, Spence, of course, you write launch flows and obviously WooCommerce, and then there's the Fluent and so forth. But there's really other plugins and other services that do sales funnel stuff, or that do e-commerce stuff, or that do membership stuff. And the fact is that we may, in some of our video and other discussions, come to it. But here's the deal. In order for me to give the kind of advice that is bulletproof, like I have 10,000 people I've demonstrated this with, okay? I have to pick something. And so today, for example, I was amazingly impressed with some of the other funnel software. I've always been looking at it because that's why I even started Launchflows. I discovered a brand new platform that does everything that WordPress does, but it's a platform, right? With the membership, marketing automation, LMS, blah, 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 blah. Cost was like $1,674 a year, right? The point is, I want everybody to understand that we're not picking and choosing between favorites. We're choosing because I have to make a livelihood by giving advice that people don't come back to me later and say, Spence, you were wrong. And I don't
Yeah,
like that.
I think that's a great point, Spence, because what we plan to do, because we're treating these past few episodes as a test of where we take the show, folks. But I think we're getting to where the format of the show. But what we're probably going to do with Spence's agreement is at the beginning of the show, we're going to have a general chat, any kind of plugins, themes, whatever comes on Spence's radar that's related to building funnels. We'll probably have a quick discussion and put it in front of you. But as what Spencer said, we're not saying what Spencer's going to be showing you in the main part of the live show is he's not discriminating about any of the other choices, but like what Spence said, he's going to be showing you tools that he's utilized with real clients that are, in his opinion and my opinion, rock solid. And you don't have to have any concerns about utilizing them or recommending them to your own clients, because Spencer's done all that for you. Would that be about right?
In other words, it's a recipe. Just use cooking as a metaphor, right? There's 8,000 chefs with 8,000 recipes on how to make chocolate chip cookies, okay? The only way that those chefs are effective is if they pick something, they test it, and they recommend it to their audience. And so that's the nature of what we're doing here, which is there's always something you can push in or pull out or whatever you want to do, or even use a different platform. But that's why we're being very specific and I think very prescriptive, because I can actually stand behind this 100%. And like, for example, today, I may have a number of emails or clients contacted me about, I need to do something interesting. Because I've stuck with that formula, with that recipe, with that system, I know the answer. And that eliminates the pain points that many freelancers suffer today, or web professionals. It's like, I have to spend time researching and I don't know the answer right away. But if you use the same system, like I'm an expert in Lego blocks, or I know how to make that chocolate chip recipe up, down, sideways, and otherwise, you become the guru for your particular audience. And that's all that matters.
So what me and Spence hope that this show will become will be your resource about everything to do with WordPress and funnels. We're going to be talking about, at the beginning of the shows, anything that comes on Spence's radar around any add-ons, plugins. We want this to be your resource, your online resource, like I say, about anything to do with WordPress and funnels. And then Spencer and myself, well, mostly Spencer, is going to show you how to utilize WordPress, building actual landing pages that can convert. If you've got any kind of landing page or any general advice, you can leave a message in the channel and we'll get back to you. And if there's anything you want us to specifically look at, just leave the URL and we will probably we'll have a discussion about it. Or you can do it live during the show, and we're up to looking at anything at the end of the show that we think would be interesting and useful to the audience. So I think I've said enough, Spence. Let's go into the main meat and potato. Over to you, Spence.
Did you realize we can now do like interlude music when we move to the next thing? So like,
I love it, Spence.
And now it's time.
Now it's time.
Deep thoughts.
Deep thoughts. I don't have any deep thoughts, Spence, so there we go.
Okay, we'll have to play with the music later. But all right, so let's dig in, because today what we're going to talk about is marketing automation and why it's essential, not to every sales funnel, but to most. And I think we want to introduce the concept, and let me actually switch screens to just focus on us a little bigger here. So the basic premise is that if you follow from my last workshop with you, you have somebody who comes into your virtual store, your shop, and instead of giving a Home Depot experience, you're giving them a sales funnel experience. But similarly, in a real world shop, there would be something that you would use, like a fishbowl in the old days, to collect an email at a minimum, the first name, last name, email, or maybe even a phone number. And the notion is that way, in the event that they don't actually buy the things in your value ladder, you can get back with them. And you can also create a user account that allows them to be tracked in a very, I want to say, nice and friendly way, not a creepy Facebook way. So for example, somebody who has come to your store and indicated, I'm from Chicago, I like chocolate, yellow is my favorite color, I am interested in backpacks. You can customize their journey to focus only on the things that they said they're interested in or things that would be useful for them. And this also includes stuff that they may have bought in the past. So for example, using some little visual aids, what they see, what they click, what they buy can all be tracked when they're registered and logged in the form of tags or custom field data. And this is useful because now when specifically Spencer Foreman comes back, you know that he already saw this offer or bought this product or clicked on this link, and you don't have to bother him again. And if he likes yellow and he's from Chicago, we can actually change the website to be yellow and have a picture of the Windy City on it, making him feel like, wow, he's really comfortable. You know who he is and so forth. And compare that with the typical sales experience where you walk in the door and it's like everything being offered the same to everyone. And so it gives you an advantage as the person creating the store, if not running it for your own business. And it also gives an advantage to the potential buyer because they're more likely to buy when you're offering them something that's relevant. So from that standpoint, marketing automation is almost always a first line kind of a thing. But for some people, it's not imperative that you do like hardcore automation. At a minimum, we want to at least log people in so that we can track whether they have seen or clicked or bought products. Okay, so I'm going to talk about in a minute the 2 or 3 layers of automation that can happen, and that they don't have to be complex and they don't have to be any more expensive, but you just don't have to bother with them, at least from day one. You can sort of work your way or your client's way into them. And let's discuss what I'm speaking about specifically. So from our previous workshop, we are working on this site that was presumably like a shop or something that offers camping related stuff. It's products, services, maybe they're doing webinars, maybe there's courses, maybe there's, trips, whatever. And we talked about how we can often have a call to action that takes somebody to a product. Now, in this case, this product is ready to go in the checkout, which is awesome. But let's talk about what marketing automation can do so we know that somebody clicked the button on the front, or that somebody had the product in their cart, or that they bought it. Because maybe this is something that if they've already bought it, we can offer them a follow-up, either via email after the sale, or maybe from the actual checkout to a custom thank you page where we offer a post-checkout offer. Now that you bought the Midway 12L pack, you want to get the blah, blah, blah. Or maybe it's just for understanding them as a customer so that later on you can segment them with other related people who own this pack. We're doing a live event Tuesday for everybody who owns this pack on how to put your canteen inside or something. Okay. So to do that, let's go on the back end and first talk about the tools that we need, because this is pretty universal. And I'm going to try to zoom in a little bit. Let's see. Yeah. It's a little easier to read. So the plugin stack that we've got here, remember, we're using a local CRM called Fluent CRM. And the Fluent CRM Pro. This could work with whatever CRM you use. And a CRM is a customer resource manager. It could be the big names like Salesforce, HubSpot, ActiveCampaign, Drip, and so forth, MailChimp even. But for most of us, we're actually going to do very well with the Fluent CRM as a plugin. And it works directly with many of the things we need at the baseline. So this is point number 1. If you happen to be using Fluent CRM, it's not absolutely imperative that you need a second plugin, which is WP Fusion. WP Fusion is not in the stack right now. That's typically what we will add in for somebody who either has an external CRM, because you have to talk to them, whereas Fluent's already in there, or as we'll talk about in a subsequent workshop, when you want to do more advanced marketing automation, WP Fusion is like, in some ways, launch flows, but on steroids, that allows you to do all kinds of crazy advanced connectivity between the plugins and the protecting of content and more. But for right now, let's just talk about the basics of how Fluent CRM does most of that on its own. So we'll talk about the details of setting it up, but let's look at our products first of all. So remember, we had that backpack that was just being sent. And I think it was the Midway 12L pack. When one has Fluent CRM installed and connected, you will have an option inside of the product itself of WooCommerce that lets you apply two things for tracking somebody's behavior. Number one is the mere fact that somebody bought it can be tracked automatically. So when one connects Fluent CRM will know if a certain WooCommerce transaction included this product. And that's going to be very useful, as I'll talk about. But you'll also have a tab here inside of the product data area where we could use the other options to apply tags. And tags are kind of metaphorically like if you went to a hotel, you know, you got the pool pass and the gym pass and the buffet line pass and the parking pass. They're just ways of tracking what things you have access to as a customer. So here, for example, we might create a tag. If this was, it's not the Bagger 25, but let's pretend it's the Bagger 25. If you buy this product, you get a tag, purchased this particular product name. And you can have unique tags that you create for each and every product.
So I've got a question.
Sure.
So I'm just surmising this. So let's say utilizing launch flows, you've got e-commerce. Let's focus on an e-commerce website and launch flows.
Okay.
So you're working with a client, they've got a WooCommerce website, you've installed Fluent launch flows, and somebody's bought something. So are you saying, so when somebody buys something, a particular product, you could tag them with a particular tag and then utilize Fluent CRM to send a series of email based on a particular client buying a particular type of product. And then you have somebody else that's bought, this is really basic stuff, but then you have another person that's gone to the WooCommerce website, they bought a different product from a different category, a different line, and then because they got a different tag, they then can be sent a different series of email to get them to do something. Is that about right?
Yeah, and that's what we call, what that is called is segmentation. So let me explain one of the main benefits of marketing automation versus, let's say, Google or other analytics. Now, I've had in the past big clients, one of them is in the automotive industry, and they get thousands of people coming to their homepage looking for used cars to buy or lease. Google will only reveal the information about a generic visitor who may be new or not came to your site. And so we had a conversation early on in our relationship about the advantages of using marketing automation. Here's the difference. With Google and other analytics, they know who the real person is that visited the site, but they're not telling you, they're not telling your client. So other competitors or just people abusing the system can go bang up your homepage. And especially if you're paying for that traffic, you can have like 1,000 people come to your homepage looking at cars and never really know, was that 1,000 unique individuals? And if they're real, and are they really buyers, or what do they like, or what's their favorite? Compare that to if you have on your homepage a way to just say, hey, you came into my store, drop something in my fishbowl to acknowledge that you're who you say you are. And then I'm going to give you a fair trade for that. But now I know it's Jonathan Denwood is browsing around my store. And so now Jonathan Denwood, specifically to his email, I know he saw this and clicked this and bought this and visited this and all the rest of the stuff. So from that standpoint, it benefits the store owner and the freelancer because you have specific details on real individuals. But then the practical benefit is you can segment from all of those past visitors. Oh, all the people who looked at the yellow backpacks or the Bagger 25, I want to do a special thing that involves only them. Whereas there's another group of people, and you can know their gender, or you can know anything you want to ask them to contribute. You can say, for all the women backpackers who've been on Mount Everest, I need to talk to you. I'll send you an email, or I have a special thing on the website that's a discount for you, and so forth. So because you can really easily identify and automatically apply rules, different design components, discounts, offers, it's scary powerful in favor actually of both yourself as well as the customer, because this isn't some creepy thing like I talked into my Amazon.
No, because you're going to be showing them products and services that would be focused at that particular client rather than showing
and the customer
stuff.
is chosen, right? Like the customer has chosen. I want to add that that's one of the things, especially if you're in a country that has GDPR and so forth. You can eliminate all those problems because the data can be removed easily. It's built into WooCommerce and the tracking with the marketing automation as well. But like I'm saying, somebody who comes to a store that has 10,000 SKUs and they identify they need 200 items, like to browse from. That's a benefit to them because now they're only looking at stuff that's relevant versus having to comb through the archives of everything you possibly.
Yeah, and I think it's fantastic, if you're developing WooCommerce solutions for your clients, folks, by coming on the show, Spencer's going to be showing you how you can offer a whole host of new services, and Spencer and his team are there available to you as a resource. But you can offer a whole range of services to your clients that you wouldn't be available. And it's just a great opportunity, isn't it, Spencer?
Yeah. I mean, for example, I don't want people to feel that they're locked into courses and memberships. So one of the things that's a popular use case is I have a community or I have a business where I have access to special downloads. Could be images or videos or anything, but it's random. It's just that I want to know that certain things are available to certain people because they're paying customers or they're members or whatever. So don't think it has to only be like lessons and courses. It can be any kind of digital content, or it can even be used for printing physical world tickets or barcodes or QR codes, that allow somebody access in the real world, but you manage it on your website, like yoga site teachers or yoga, event. You could sell like a QR code that they come to the movie theater or the yoga class with. So the point is, though, that by the two mechanics in the basic setup that I'm showing you here, with just Fluent CRM, you have a real starting point of capability. And so even though, as I'll show you in a second, Fluent will know that you bought this product, I often will come up with reasons to also apply a tag, because sometimes when I'm trying to do things that are outside the scope of Fluent but are available in other parts of the website, the tag acts as the ticket, if you will, like in the real
identifier.
Identifier. It's not always necessary if all you're doing is sending emails from Fluent, but because there are many other things I'll talk about in another event, that's why I'm suggesting you probably want to do this. And likewise, there's an option here for removing tags, right? So in the event that you have a situation where somebody had a pre-existing tag required to see this product or offer, you can track their progress because let's say previously, they attended a webinar. Well, if you want to know the difference between people who have been to a webinar but not bought the product, you can simply remove the webinar tag, and now you can segment anybody who's basically bought the product and this tag was removed. So there's an option for both giving tags and removing tags, and there's lots of clever things that we'll talk about how that works out. But for right now, let's leave it at that. Other than I want to just point out, like in the event that this is a refundable product, or let's say it's a subscription, which this isn't, but if it was, you can also take the tag away. So if you stop paying for your membership, or if your day is up at the hotel, you can take the tag away in the event that they are refunded their money, or in the event, if this was a subscription, that the subscription ends. And that's very powerful too, because that's how people will do. You have access for 30 days. At the end of 30 days, it asks you to pay again. And if you don't, then sorry, Charlie, you're done. Okay. So from that standpoint, let's look now, because we've shown how a product can track its own purchase. Let's go back over to the CRM in Fluent and see what that looks like. So let's just start at the dashboard in general. And one of the things that we can look at is with all of the contacts, we can see whether they have tags. So we had some people before as little samples, like here's Bob Smith. And Bob Smith, we can see, has certain tags, right? He has the tag of attended webinar. He probably should be, if he did it right, he'd be on the main list as well. Worth mentioning, when you're doing this kind of automation, you only need one list per business. So in other words, Fluent would allow me to run 5 separate businesses, and each of them would have their own list. So I don't have to have 5, copies of Fluent, but one list per business, because you're going to use tags to segment the people. right? For whatever reasons. Now, what's interesting here, and this is just something we'll highlight because we'll talk about later, the CRM allows you to actually do kind of the first person selling. Like if you really wanted to, you could send either automated emails, or you can actually send, custom emails, just like using your regular email when somebody does something. So maybe somebody buys and you say, hey, Jonathan, thanks for buying this product. Or maybe you just want to search for anybody who has already bought and they've got that tag, and just send them a one-time email. So it's a very powerful tool for manual emails, but also for triggering, as I'll show you in a second, automations. But then you've also got, for example, and I'm not sure this one has one, but if somebody buys, as I mentioned, they will show a purchase history of having bought that particular product. So I'm not sure from our past events if any of these guys bought, but let's see. I think they did. So if we go to one of these purchase membership samples, I think we should probably see. I didn't set it up here, but if we were to do this, you'll have to take my word on it. It would show Tony Roma bought the membership product on, June 24th and so forth. So we would have two things. We would have a tag, and we would also have a purchase history. Now, let's talk about, unless you want to pause for a second, let's talk about what that means for the automations, because that's what's going to come from this.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's fine. So I just want to recap so we keep people with us.
Yeah.
So I think the main point you're trying to make is that you don't need all these separate lists. You can have one list and break it up by utilizing tags. We've gone through then by utilizing the tag with the example of a WooCommerce setup for a client or a membership website for a client, that you could utilize. Let's keep with the WooCommerce, because with the WooCommerce, you could have different product ranges, a product range aimed at women. Let's take the example. You've got two product ranges, one for men, one for women, and the tag, they come through a funnel. They purchase a product utilizing launch flows with WooCommerce. Mm-hmm. They're tagged as a woman. Then you can send, through utilizing Fluent CRM, you can send them a series of updates about new products aimed at women, special offers aimed at women, instead of sending them a generic newsletter every month that would have products for men, children, or women, which probably doesn't have that much impact or interest if you're a woman. That's the synopsis, is it not?
Exactly. I mean, the notion is that you have the capability now from things that people either give you through a purchase of a product or from using the forms. Like once somebody is already on the site, you can do a survey, you can give them buttons. So their behavior on the website, their behavior in forms, their behavior in the email are all allowing them to share with you more details, which are stored not only as a user, but stored as their contact profile, so that in the CRM, we can use that contact profile information to segment people out with similar things that would be useful for a purpose. Like, for example, let's have a webinar and contact all the people who are females who bought the Bagger 25 backpack. That's useful because maybe there's some topic that's only relevant to females who bought that particular product. And it's not complex, but it's not something that most people are doing. So it's a real opportunity. And I want to point this out too. Like, this is a business opportunity that reminds me of back in the day when WordPress, we first had Bootstrap. And then when we got page builders, the entire universe of customers is not using this yet. So if you're a freelancer or a web professional, you can learn a little bit from us, get the help, and either use our services directly or have us just show you. And now you've got something your customers like, yeah, like I didn't have official.
Well, it's just a great resource having you agree to do these live shows for the WordPress community, because Spence really knows what he's doing in this area. And it's just a great opportunity for you to learn from Spence, folks. So,
yeah, I mean, it's a neat thing because this is always tied. I talked about it in today's WP-Tonic show. Like, I am agnostic to anybody's choosing this or that or the other system, but I am absolutely an advocate for doing only things that make more money. Like, wasting time, I can't afford. I have 3 kids. I'm a single dad. Even 2 of them are adults. I still have 1 at home. It's like I got through all that because I didn't carve, wheels out of wood. I just found things that were ready to go and saved a lot of time, but were also valuable because remember, there's only like 2 steps behind you is where your next customer is. They don't have to be like completely clueless and they don't have to be experts. They just have to be 2 steps behind you. So like Lewis and Clark, you can kind of, here's the path to California, through the
yeah. So we've got about 10 minutes because I like to just have a general chat afterwards. So we've got about 10, 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. Are there any, where do you want to go with this, Spence?
Well, what I want to do is let's bring this full circle and do an example. So let me share the screen again. And this is, again, basic, and maybe these things aren't fully set up because we really, I'm just telling you about the tools. Yeah. But remember, we were on the front of the site, and so we had a product, which I believe we just set up. So we send somebody to buy it, okay? And this is it's going to be me buying it because I'm logged in as me, but that's fine. And we don't, for many products that aren't shippable, you won't need all this stuff, but let's just say, because this is shippable, I've got all the normal suspects of going. Okay, so like, let's say I buy it, and let's say I'm not shipping to a different address. I do my checkout. A couple things happen. It takes them to a custom checkout page, which we'll talk about definitely in other events. This case, I actually sent them right to their dashboard so they can just see the order, right, that they bought and so forth, and check on it because it's a shippable product. But let's go back to the other side and refresh your contacts page to see what happens for you as the site owner, or for you, for your client setting it up. Here now is a new contact. And let's see what we can see right on the front. Help at WP Launch by Spencer Foreman. Just got added to my main list. Remember, this is my business. Tag of purchased bagger 25. Let's dig in a little deeper. Okay. Purchase history should be there. There we go. Here's the order. So remember, I was telling you, like, you have the tag of bagger 25, but you also know exactly what details. So let's say this customer calls you up or your client up and says, hey, that backpack was a piece of crap. Okay, fine. You can go into WooCommerce, but you also now have a CRM because you can just say, literally spoke to client, backpack, no good. And if you wanted to, you can actually, right from here, go ahead and send them an email. So it acts in some way like a ticket managing system if you wanted, right? You could literally send them a pre-made apology or a discount coupon or whatever you want. Notice too, we've got some metrics over here, customer summary, right? Here's this customer, average value 297, lifetime value, so they bought one thing. When you're dealing with customers, it's really cool to know if this person has ever spent $0 or a lot of money, because let's be honest, a person who has tens of thousands of dollars spent with you, you're going to give them the red carpet treatment and the benefit of the doubt. Whereas if the person is new, you might go, I'm a little more skeptical. But so the bottom line is, you've now got a system where, remember we were saying we could segment. Here's what you might do. You might segment on one of those factors that were just collected. So we create a new segment. We'll call, contact all backpack buyers of some kind. And now we can either base it on that the list was applied or the tag was applied, or we could say new order completed, right? And if we choose the order completed method instead of the tag method, it's going to just ask us, which products, right? And it was the bagger, whatever, we did the Midway 12 pack, right? So what we're able to do is say, only triggered this automation if they bought a certain product or if they have a certain product category. And then what do you want to do next? Well, sky's the limit. Probably I would maybe wait a day. And then what I would do is probably send an email. And the email could be something that is either custom or it's a sequence. And this is where I would say, hey, I'm glad you bought the new Bagger 12, backpack. We're doing a live event Wednesday. And also we want to know if you love it. And here's a link to our Facebook group and so on and so forth. But the bottom line is, I've now created in just a few steps a special sequence that will automatically do the things I needed to do to follow up with the customer because they bought a specific product, right? Infinite number of other cool things we can do on content display and membership area and so forth. But like just this alone, can you see already how much power you have? You literally know so much about every visitor, every person who is added to your list, every person who's bought, and so forth. That's it for today.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. Just got some quick questions. Have you got any insights for the audience that are going to be watching this about things that they've got, things based on your experience that they should know about and avoid when they're dealing with clients that are interested in utilizing WordPress? Because they love WordPress, they love the SEO, they love utilizing it, but they want to get into marketing automation. What are some of when they're handling a client like that, that's shown interest in utilizing WordPress for marketing automation, what are some of the things based on your experience that they should know and avoid in turning that into a really lucrative client?
I mean, what's interesting to me is it's an opportunity to apply the same skill sets that somebody who's a web professional might have towards design and apply them to a new set of skills that is still very, I use this term not without a lot of thought, demonstrable. So if I was an SEO person or I was a Facebook ads person, there might be some metrics I can control and demonstrate between the money spent by the client and the result. I mean, SEO is still really hard to demonstrate, and you spent X and got Y. But here, you can really prove to a client, here's all the people that have been coming to your site in the past on analytics, right? Allegedly. And we implement a system to make sure they all put their name in the fishbowl. And then we put in another system that says when they see stuff that something happens. So what you can do is now create a absolutely irrefutable measurement of this person came, this person, now we know who they are because they got registered and logged in. This person saw this, clicked this, did this, bought this. Like, you can literally show factual things that help your client understand what products are fitting the market, which things are resonating with the customers, which things are complete duds. And because you're doing that, you don't have to prove that they're selling more stuff. That's irrelevant. Maybe their product is a real piece of dog poop, but you can show them why, because you can see John Denwood came in, he saw the offer, he got to the thing, and he just stopped. The price was too high. Well, maybe you A/B test the price, or he bought it and he complained and didn't do that. So in other words, now you have tangible things that you're measuring, and since you're not trying to demonstrate like, look, you spent $1,000 and nothing happened, but you instead spent $1,000 on me, and now I can show you things that help you improve your business. It's a difference, and it just requires you to educate yourself. And that's one of the things that my business does, is we primarily service web professionals to share with you the tools that are available for you to use to make more money with the clients you have. Or maybe you want to just refer the clients to us, and we'll make it that you earn more on the total project, because now you can deliver stuff that they wouldn't have done.
Yeah, we've got a question from eMedia Hosting. I'm guessing coupon emails can be sent based on purchases made.
Exactly, right. So, for example, at the level that we're just talking about, actually, I can share the screen and do this. At the level we were talking about, this is just as simple as using a pre-made coupon. Let me go over here. So in this case, WooCommerce now has a tool section called marketing coupons, right? And so here you would create your first coupon. And again, there's lots of advanced coupon options and so forth, but like, discount 500 or something, right? Save $500. Okay. And again, all the various ways this could be on a particular product or whatever, but let's just say it's $500 out of the cost of whatever somebody's buying. This coupon would not be publicly available, right? If you are not using WP Fusion, you can just simply provide them with an automated follow-up that sends them this via an email. And one of the limits that's built into WooCommerce, which is nice, is you can restrict it to, for example, individual use only. You can restrict it to particular products, or to, certain, like one email per coupon. Either way, now I've got this discount coupon, right? And all I would do is I would go back over here to my Fluent automation. that we were just playing with. And I'd be like, you're awesome for buying this Backer 25. So what we're going to do is let's edit this. And in that email that I was going to send anyway, I would say, you're awesome. Here's a coupon for $500 off any future backpack accessories or whatever. And then you would just type in the coupon, ta-da. Or you can actually put in the link that applies it. There's, with launch flows, I'll show you, there's a direct to checkout link that would apply it. But the basic idea is now the only time people will see this or get this would be because they bought the product and you've sent it to them in an automation. Or, as I'll show you, I don't want to show that fully today, but I'll give you a quick hint. Or you can use the capabilities of some of the other tools to show it anywhere in the website by way of something like this. If we went add new, we might be able to just create with the wrapper of Fluent CRM. Let's say, this is a checkout. We might create some kind of custom display where we use the conditional section of Fluent, and then we just simply put in a paragraph block or something. Let's just start typing, actually. Well, here's a coupon. Use coupon at checkout for $500 off. And obviously we don't need to have the font be so gigantic. Now, this is conditionally displayed. So when we look at this, see where it says only show this if there is a tag. And the tag would be purchased Bagger 25. So the only people who will see this on the checkout page would be people who have previously bought, which is another way of doing it that's super awesome, because right there, they feel like, I would say something like, you're awesome, Bagger 25 buyer, and so forth. So yeah. Great question, but absolutely.
Oh, thanks. I've got one kind of question, and then we can wrap it up, because I think it's been a fantastic show. Actually, I think. Got any advice for our audience around? They've got a client that they've been working with, and the client comes to them and says, "Jonathan, I'm looking to get into marketing automation, but I've been looking at HubSpot. I've been looking at ClickFunnels. I've been looking at HubSpot. I've been looking at Drip. Can you help? But it's not WordPress. So I'm looking at another agency because they say they specialize in HubSpot. So what can you? Where do you think Fluent CRM and the tools that you're going to be showing us over the coming shows, where do you think they are? Can you, in your heart, do you think that that web designer, developer, WordPress professional can say, you don't have to go and look at these tools. I've got a set of tools, and I can, with the help of Spencer and his team, I can give you a much more powerful and better solution. Do you think we are there at the present moment? And you got, what's your feelings and thoughts about that, Spencer?
I mean, this question comes up regularly, almost daily, and this is why we offer a service that for a web professional, you can bring us in. Remember last show I talked about like a bridge structural engineer being brought in by the bridge owner, bridge contractor, bridge painter, bridge concrete person. It's because we have a very special skill set that applies both to the software on WordPress that connects it, like WP Fusion, launch flows, and so forth, but also to the outside CRMs, right? So in the event that there's a client who's already using Salesforce or HubSpot or Infusionsoft, or
I mean, they were looking, but they actually
maybe somebody told them like it's awesome, and maybe they don't. Here's the thing. There's a series of questions and factors that I go through. That's one of the benefits of even a free call with me, with your client, is that I help the client to see it's a choice based upon fitting you to the right thing for the right job. And so there are clients who come along who have a legitimate series of reasons for they really do need HubSpot or Salesforce or something. Now, the big thing is you as an intermediary, as a professional web person on WordPress, you're not going to need or want likely to know how to do HubSpot, but we do. And so if that's the case, that's an even better reason why we can bring that person into the idea of you need a WordPress site connected to HubSpot or Salesforce, and here's how it happens. And in that case, there's a valid reason, let's say, for replacing Fluent with HubSpot. Maybe because their company's already using it, their clients use it, they've got embedded other, dynamic stuff. It doesn't matter. We go back to the original conversation at the start of the show. I am agnostic to the tools used because my expertise goes across all of them. So it's just like in life when you're the engineer. You do the load calculations and then you recommend that different things be done, but you don't bother yourself whether the contractor does it this way or that way, as long as the result is the same. So I would say that Fluent is the go-to sort of starting point for most all online content membership sites if they do not have a high-powered sales team one-to-one, if they do not have a legacy setup, if they do not have lots of custom what they call objects in a relational way on some CRM. If you've got a blank setup that doesn't have this, or you've got a customer who just wants a simple, super efficient setup, Fluent's a great choice. But we have a lot of clients who say, you know what, I'm going to just put Active Campaign in there.
Yeah,
and
sure.
that's awesome. But it's, it's cost. It grows with the number of contacts.
So I think we're going to leave it there. I think it's been a great show. If you've got any questions, put them in the comments and we'll answer them in next week's show. If you need any advice or any consultation, the link to Spencer's website where you'll be able to...
I'm going to pop this in here. Sorry, I'm going to do it. But it's WP. Just go to WP-Launchify.com because we've actually improved the website and the details. So now you can basically see the kinds of things we've been talking about. And it's really simple because free phone call, but some clients or some intermediaries just need a one-time session, like $300. Sometimes we just do it as a complete solution or project, but you're really just getting our expert knowledge because all of the plugins and everything, we share that freely. And I here and elsewhere, I'm always showing people how to use them, but that's not the problem people have. People have okay, I got the recipe. I went to the store. I've got the ingredients. I don't want to mess this up. Let's just get it right the first time.
Yeah, sure. And that will be, that link will be in the show notes, folks. So Spencer's there as a resource, either for direct consultation or help you further. It's a great resource. Please subscribe to the channel, give us a thumbs up. It really helps to promote the show. We'll be back next week with another funnel building live. He's playing the music. He couldn't resist it.
This is our outro now, John.
Yeah, it's our outro. We're happy having my own when I can get round to it. We'll see you soon, folks. Bye.
Bye, everybody.